Hey guys, welcome to the new episode of Skagit Storytellers. My guest today is Scott Storie. In the episode, I explain how I didn't even know Scott. He was just recommended to me by Tony Wright, and it was a really fun time. Thanks for coming over, Scott. All right, so in this episode, I'll just go over a couple things. He talks about someone having a really great voice. He's talking about Marshall Fichter. I had to cut that out. I forget why, but that's why. Also, I talked about some inside info that I heard about the show Alone. Let's just say those are rumors and they're not true, so don't sue me. And also, there's a story about Zach Michaud and Birdstock, and some of those facts might be exaggerated too. At the very least, just go see Zach Michaud play some music because he's awesome. We saw him at Rockfish last Wednesday, and as always, he was great. So much fun. Thumbs up from me, Zach. All right. Also, Red, thank you for the pizza. Okay, this was recorded on August the 4th, and it's almost October, so you guys can see how far back I'm going. All right, so this was recorded on the 4th because I talk about Cody's album release date for his album Where the Fork Veers Left. So it's already out. You can buy it on Bandcamp, listen to it on Spotify. It's great. I love it. But yesterday, I was lucky enough to be involved in Cody's next project. So his new EP is going to be out on Friday the 13th, October the 13th, and he wrote and recorded these tracks with Tim Meckling. And I just want to state for the record that I was the one that gave Cody Tim's number, and I've regretted it ever since. Just kidding. I love you guys. They were shooting a music video in a church in Bellingham. It was really fun, supporting talented people who work hard and who happen to be friends. There's not really anything better than that. So thanks for a fun afternoon. That morning, yesterday, so I'm recording this on a Monday morning. Yesterday, I ran a half marathon earlier in that day. I didn't want to do it, but I said I was going to do it, so I did it. Olive was going to do it too, but it's been a rough few weeks leading up to this race, and she didn't put the training in. I mean, I hadn't put the training in either, but I knew I wouldn't DNF. But I didn't want her dropping on a half marathon and potentially giving up running altogether because I pushed her too hard. She's definitely entering the next phase of her life, if you know what I mean. And I'm trying to find that balance between encouraging her and letting a couple things go. So speaking of encouraging, she's learning the violin. So over a week ago, she started a new string camp session in Burlington, and she came out of that first session in tears because she was so lost. It was really above her skill level. She's pretty new to the violin, and so she said she wasn't going back at all. So I called her teacher and just mentioned how tough it was. Teacher obviously recognized it right away, and she was already modifying the music for next week. So she sent me the music, sent me the audio clips too, and that way Olive could practice the music with her teacher on Thursdays. So she has lessons on Thursday with Gretchen Hewitt in Concrete. Gretchen's a previous podcast guest as well. Olive still said, no, I'm not going back. And I said, well, you're going to go back at least once after, check out the modification, see how it works. But after her lesson on Thursday with Gretchen, Olive loved it. She was so happy. She said she could definitely play that music, and she can't wait for her Tuesday class. So anyway, I'm really proud of her for giving that a try. Live events coming up that you need to go to: Ghost Walks in Concrete. Just Google that phrase, Ghost Walks in Concrete. Buy a ticket, enjoy the show. You'll walk around Main Street to different buildings, hear true ghost stories, and see some scenes acted out by wonderful locals. These tours tend to sell out too. People come from Seattle and I think even Vancouver. The first full weekend, though, in October is my murder mystery trivia night. I'll be accompanied by some musicians on stage who will play beautiful, haunting music in between rounds. You'll be able to have a beer, grab some ice cream, enjoy the show. And then when trivia is over that night, there's karaoke next door at the Hub by Night Stalker Entertainment. Terry always puts on a fun night. Anyway, I have a few surprise guests planned for my show. I'll explain more in detail in my next radio show, as well as my intro for my next week's podcast. And reminder about my radio show, it's on Tuesdays from 6 until 8. I usually post about it on Facebook, and people send requests on there, or they just send me a text. You can also call the station. Google it. I'm not sure what it is. Probably starts with 360. I do have a lot of requests that I didn't get to last week, so I don't know if I'll even be taking any requests. My guest is going to be Wes Jones, but guess what? I'm recording this on Monday, and you're not going to hear this until Wednesday morning, so Wes and I probably had a really great show. All right, let's see what else is coming up. Oh, Michael David, another favorite, is playing at Eagle Haven Winery on Friday, October 6th. He does awesome originals, covers, and improvs as well. I don't drink, but I keep hearing about this wine slushie that they have at Eagle Haven and how awesome it is. So come out and try that. I also appreciate the fact that they carry non-alcoholic beers too. Let's see. Oh, Cats Like Us. They're playing Zeke's Pizza in Bellingham on Thursday, October 12th. That's Bob, Stone, Selena, and some guy named Miguel. Cascade Cody and the Unpulled Bootstraps, Lazy Acres, and Corey Vincent and the Electric Band are playing Buxton's and Anacortes. Tickets are only being sold at the door, and it's going to be packed and fun. And that shows on the 21st of October. Last but not least, Skagit Bigfoot Fest is happening on Friday and Saturday this week, so in a few days. Tickets are cheap. I think they're only $10. And there'll be activities for everyone there. There's live entertainment both days, all day. Olive will be there on Saturday selling her pickle books, the whole trilogy, plus her coloring book. So come on out and support her and the other local vendors. Check out the giant festival that's put on only by a few people. And one of them's Marla. She's a previous podcast guest. Marla helped us sell our house in Mount Vernon and buy this beautiful farmhouse that we live in today. She's a hardworking mom. I'm proud of how much she's put into this event and how much it's grown in only its second year. So Skagit Bigfoot Fest at the Skagit County Fairgrounds all day Friday and Saturday. My friends Cascade Cody and Michael David are also playing, as well as other bands such as the Olsen Brothers, King Youngblood, and Silk Road, and a whole bunch others. Fortress of the Bear is also playing. I really want to see them. Skagit Storytellers will be around both days, meaning me, and I'll just be gathering stories, meeting people, and probably laughing. So listen for me somewhere on the fairgrounds. Thanks to Marla for letting me be a part of this. All right, that's it. Thanks for everyone for listening, and have a great rest of your week. And as always, go do something hard.
Howdy, partner. Welcome to one of the most northern parts of the United States of America. Travel with me upriver as we talk to a bunch of ladies and fellers and they share their tales of wit and wisdom. That's right, it's time again for Skagit Storytellers with Liz Rankin.
If you ask any one of the guys I play with or have ever played with,
Yeah.
I'll hook chords up, but I don't plug them in, and I don't turn knobs or move sliders. That's not my thing. I don't know anything about it. I never have. I've always been afraid I'm going to burn something up. Breaks just bad, so I don't touch it. I'll plug in chords, and I'm always good at huffing gear. I just don't do the technical stuff.
So,
and you teach at Edison, right?
Yeah, and you went there.
Yeah, I grew up there. My parents had the little restaurant right by the old school.
Yeah.
I went to the old grade school.
How long did your parents own that for? And was it called the Edison Cafe when they had it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they had it for a couple of years. I don't remember. It was in grade school. We lived right in town, right just down the street from what is now the Edison Tavern. It used to be just the grocery store and the post office. And then, God, they had it, I don't know, they had it for a couple years.
So you were born in Edison?
No, I was actually born in California. Yeah, I think I was the only kid. I'm the youngest of 5 born in California.
Oh, okay.
My dad was down there working for a short period of time, and that's where I was born.
Yeah.
Then we moved back up here, moved to Mount Vernon a couple years, and then I was out to Edison where I did most of my grade school. And then we moved into Burlington. I even went out there. I did a little stint in the town school. Then I went back out to Edison. And then,
Oh, so you didn't spend your whole school career out in Edison?
For the most part.
Yeah.
But I was removed a couple times.
So would you consider Edison like your hometown, or would you consider Cedar Woolley?
I would consider Edison the place where I grew up, right there. That fancy new place that's out there along the slough now.
Oh,
restaurant.
Terramar?
Yes, that one.
Yeah,
you know what that used to be?
No.
That was a slaughterhouse.
What?
I used to go in there and sit, and we could just sit on the rails as a kid and just watch them. Any part of the butchering, slaughtering process from the very beginning, from right to the slit in the throat, lifting them up, the whole thing. And get some magnets at the end, because they send magnets down and collect nails and shit out of the stomachs. So, yeah.
I was going to say, what did you do as a kid in Edison?
That's what we did.
What you
We used to watch them slaughter cows, and then we'd go over to the meat market where they did all the cutting and wrapping, and then people in town would get lockers. If you didn't have a big freezer at home, you got your locker there. You rent a locker like a mailbox or something, and you keep your meat in the freezer.
Wow.
So we'd watch them. Yeah, that's what kids did. Yeah.
Nice. I was going to say you probably spent a lot of time outside, like on a farm.
Always.
Pasture.
Always.
Shooting birds. Do you hunt?
There was not anymore. There was lots of duck hunting along the dikes and all the sloughs and all the waterways out there. Just water gathered in the fields in the summer. My brothers were hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they still local?
Halfway. They live in Arizona like half the time.
Oh, okay.
Then they have places up here.
Yeah.
So
How did you meet your wife? And her name's Tony, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just playing through shows and stuff, and she used to just kind of come around through shows.
Oh, okay.
And that's one of those things.
Yeah. And how does your daughter's childhood compare to your childhood? Is she out there watching the slaughterhouse and running in the fields?
No,
and...
I kind of sometimes feel bad for her because she's an
How old
only.
Is she?
She's 17. Yeah, she's going to be a senior this year.
Oh, wow. In Woolley?
Yeah, and so she had to go through the kind of the pandemic at home with mom and dad, just her. But even that, she's just been an only. And I'm kind of older as a dad, so I'm old and boring. And so, God, it's like, I just feel bad because she's always had just the two of us.
Yeah.
You know, we've tried to have a lot of fun, but.
How old were you when you had her?
Almost 41.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes me old right now. You're in the mouth, like, click, click. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking we only have one as well, and we're not having another one.
Yeah.
But I always think that too, like, well, it kind of sucks that she doesn't have siblings.
And when we die, you get everything.
Yes.
Kids, there's no one to squabble with. You get everything. Not that I have a lot, but what I have, you get.
But you have more than you would because you're only spending it on one kid. So it works out.
Yes.
That's funny. We actually had 2 boys live with us for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And this was one of the rooms. Alex, we met Alex at City Point Church in Mount Vernon, and he just posted on the Facebook page, hey, I just need a place to crash for 2 months. My mom's moving down south to Marysville. I want to stay up here in Mount Vernon. Basically, Zach was with us for 5 years, and Alex was with us for 6 years. I remember at one point, like, it was 2 years until he moved out, but it was so about 4 years or so, and I just had this feeling. We're watching My 600-Pound Life. Have you ever seen that show?
I've seen of it.
Well, the doctor yells at the mom who's not overweight, and the mom's like, don't yell at me. I'm not the one that's... And he goes, you're enabling your son. You're bringing him the food. And I freaked out, and I went, we're enabling the boys. Like, we taught them so much and really gave them good support, but they need to be on their own, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to keep raising the rent.
They got to launch.
Yes. So, and they're ready. They were so ready. Yeah. They both had cars. They both had good jobs. So I said, okay, you guys got 2 years. Anyway, so yeah, the 2 years was up in January, so they moved out.
This last January?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
crap.
Alex just got married in June, so he proposed right before they moved out. He had met her, he had been dating
Is he a
for
drummer?
No.
Does he need a place to live? I'm just wondering.
No. And who knows? I mean, we could have another kid in here or something. There's people crashing here tonight. Like, this house is too big for the 3 of us.
Yeah.
So I don't mind, like, camp in my pasture, sleep in our spare room, like, whatever.
Yep.
So
My parents had a lot of foster kids. Yep. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I'm the youngest of 5.
And you had foster kids?
And a litter of foster kids.
A litter?
Yeah.
So, like, they'd be in there for what, a week, 2?
They'd be, some of them were there for longer. And I was real young at the time. I remember hearing a lot of stories, and I met some of them. But there was one in particular we had when I was in grade school, and she was younger, and she come from upriver, and she was... I think she was 6 months or something when we first got her.
Wow.
She was, she'd been severely abused. It was a rough story. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but before that, I remember, there was lots of stories, because my dad was pretty ruled with an iron fist and didn't take no shit off no kids. So the state would come to him and go, hey, we've got some kids that need a place to stay. And
why did they start taking foster kids
I don't know. I think just... Like I said, it was probably before I was born and when I was real young when all this was going on. Because I know some of them was happening when we lived a small stint in California.
Oh, okay.
But there was some of them that were still hanging around when I was real young and living in Mount Vernon. And then they would always stop by. Someone would come by and see Mom and Dad periodically throughout the years. So he recommended me, but he wouldn't come on here.
No, and he didn't even tell me, like, who you were. He just said, Scott's got cool stories and he lives near you. And I go, okay. So that was it. I think he'll come on.
He should. Tony's an interesting cat, man. He's a lot of fun. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he drew that typewriter right there.
Yeah. I've got... Yeah, he's done some cool shit. He drew me and brought it to me one day. I was like, you got to be shitting me.
Like you're...
He drew a picture of me. He just called me one day. I was just working out in my garden. He goes, hey, you home, man? I go, yeah. He goes, I got to stop by for a couple minutes. And he just brought me this big fucking cool picture that he drew of me.
Yes.
Are you on his list? Yeah, because they're awesome. New songs from Tony.
Can we talk about Crisis Valley?
Yeah.
When
With Miguel?
I was upriver the other day. Because they shut the street down and did a bunch of bands.
I know. I wanted to go.
And Tony was there. And I go, Tony, oh my gosh, I love Crisis Valley. And he goes, Liz, I've never heard that sentence. I go, come on, it's awesome. I love what you guys are doing. So, yeah. And he just sent me the new one, the single.
The Lost in My Mind?
Yes.
Yeah. I heard it. I listened to it.
I love it.
That's good.
No, I mean, gosh, the title has just cracked me up. Like, what's that one like? Is this about pants or something?
Oh, there's about new kicks. Yeah, there's one about, yeah.
Well, I'm picking up the poo. Oh. I had just started dog sitting, and so it was like in my head every time I was picking it up.
Yeah, I'm in the land maintenance business, so dog poo is don't want to say an important part, but it is there.
Yeah,
it's a
there.
constant.
Yeah. So wait, when you're mowing a lawn, it's okay if it's there. I mean,
no, it isn't.
Why?
Not at all.
What does it do?
It's so gross. It's like a picture of blender, and then sometimes in the spring,
if it's fresh, it's gross.
And it's gross anyway. Even if it's not fresh, it'll be like powder, and then it's up in the air, and then you're smelling it. It's all up in your nose. It's disgusting.
So for the person mowing the lawn, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
and the guy cleaning the mower, it's the worst because you got to stick your hands in there sometimes in the spring when it's wet and it's raining a lot, and guys are just struggling to get all their yards mowed between rainstorms.
Yeah.
And then there's a big pile out. It's just, it's horrible.
All right. I've never really thought about that.
Yeah. You have dogs?
Well, we were dog sitting a lot this last month. So.
Were you picking up the poo?
Well, no, because they were little tiny chihuahuas. And it seemed like it just almost...
It just goes away.
Dried up and disintegrated.
Like people who take cigarette butts and just go... poof. And they just disappear, don't they? Just like the little dog turds.
It's out of my sight, so it means it's gone. Well, yeah, I was going to say, we could talk about how, what are some things that you wish people knew before you came to their house to do landscaping? Like, what are your pet peeves? You should pick up your poo.
Pick up the poo,
what else?
Just keep stuff out of the way.
Sticks?
Bicycles, sticks, rocks. I'm not there to do...
People just leave bicycles on the lawn?
Well, kids leave... Parents don't...
Yeah.
The kids don't know, so it's up to the parents to go, hey, get your shit out of the yard. Put your stuff away.
Yeah.
Don't leave your socks out there. Don't leave your bats, balls, shoes,
What's the weirdest stuff that you've accidentally ran over and just... Like, has anything, really ruined your machine?
Yeah, I had a piece of rebar and one of those standpipes to fill, like, a heating oil that's, like, that big around. It's got a little cap on it.
Yeah.
Well, somebody didn't have it marked. I didn't know it was there. And they don't think to tell you, oh, hey, there's a thing out there in the yard. heating oil nozzle.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do a damage to your mower. But yeah, it's pretty good now. I'm pretty established on where I go in the yards. I'm pretty familiar.
Well, do you kind of have the same clients all the time? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
You're not accepting new clients?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
Because I'm full. I'm just one guy.
Oh, you're just busy. Okay.
And my nephew, God love him, he's in the same business as me. But do you know where the Old Timers is?
Yes.
He just bought it. That's my nephew that owns that.
Wait, Luke?
Ookie.
He's coming on here next week.
No shit?
Or in 2 weeks.
Ookie.
With Danny Hagen.
Ookie.
Do you know Danny? So Danny and Luke are friends, and they both do the Highlander games.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool to have Luke. I don't know him at all, but to have Luke and Danny, because I know Danny really well, come in and just talk about what it's like. And so I tried to get them in before the Highlander games, but Luke had surgery and he was busy. So anyway. So he's your
surgery
nephew.
that he had.
Yeah.
That's why I'm busier than I normally, because he had some.
So he normally helps you?
No. He had his own thing going, but he was having surgery and he couldn't do all these yards. And he's like, "Shit, man, will you take some of these from me?" And I'm like,
hilarious.
"God, I'm just one guy. I'm pretty full." And he's like, "These are good. Come on, take these yards. Help me." So we figured out a way. Him and I, so.
So his parents, his mom is your sister?
His mama is my oldest sister.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I know there was like a benefit concert.
It was in the winter, I think.
Yes. I remember I was gone on vacation.
I was too.
Yeah. I was in Mexico. It was cold here. Yeah. You must have grew up with Luke when he was a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you guys were all around.
We were at Christmases and all the holidays.
Are you his favorite uncle? You can say it on here. If it's on here, it's true. So.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm his favorite uncle. I think we've always gotten along pretty well. Yeah. I will say that.
If I say...
He has a lot of uncles. I do know that.
Okay. Well, if I say, okay, Luke, let's hear your favorite story about Uncle Scott, which one do you think he's going to share? Is there like one thing that happened where, you guys always like laugh about it and reminisce or... While you're thinking, you want another one?
Yes.
Okay.
Please. One of the funny things is watching Luke do this dance on the beach one night, and it was we were talking about some party that we were going to go to.
Yeah.
And just watching him do it, I don't remember. It was some dude's name, and the way he was dancing, that Carlton or something. Oh my God! Oh
yeah, from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, and Lukey was doing that. And I was just dying.
That's
I think
awesome.
He was imitating somebody that was going to be there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of dancing, so I only bring up Andy just because I literally saw him today a couple times, or I saw him at. I was in Anacortes. My daughter was doing a string camp.
Yeah.
So there was the Anacortes Music Project band camp last week.
Yeah.
And then next week they're doing another one. Well, in between...
Isn't it like 8 weeks long? It seems like he's been so stinking busy lately. He can't go floating or hang out with his buddies or do anything fun with his friends.
Or record a podcast.
Yes, I feel your pain, Liz. Andy Brown, he's also a fine dancer.
Yeah.
Don't let him fool you.
Well, he also mentioned, we were talking about how you were the drummer. Was it for Pavlov Jones?
No, it was for Hindu Grass.
Your first band. You were the drummer, but then... You left, and so he had to drum.
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Well, I should stay the drummer."
Choose a better drummer. There's nothing. Yeah, there's no dispute.
Well, I had to laugh too because he said that he didn't want to be in a band, the first band that you guys had, because he thought he was too old.
He might have been.
He was 25.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
He wasn't 25.
No, that's what he said. He said 25 is too old to be in a band. That's what he said.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
As he's still in a band now.
Because I'm trying to think, because we had met before. We kind of knew each other.
In high school, you guys knew each other?
I knew who he was. I knew of him.
Okay.
Because he was quite an athlete.
So you guys were both in Woolley?
No, I was Burlington.
Oh, okay.
I was him. I knew of his athletic prowess.
I'm trying to keep everyone straight because Sonny's coming on too. And Sonny's from Woolley? Sonny went to Woolley, I think.
I never knew Sonny in high school. I only knew him from rock and roll afterwards. So.
Okay. Okay, so you were Burlington. Okay, got it.
Andy Brown was Woolley.
Got it.
But I knew of him.
Because he was an athlete? See, I didn't know that.
I knew of him because he is, like I said.
Oh, okay.
He's just,
all right.
Good
what
athlete.
Sport?
He was a wrestler.
Okay.
And I think he was, I believe, cross country.
track and field. So
how'd you guys meet then?
This is a long story. I'm going to say the first time that we really bonded, we were at Rhythm and Blues, Winthrop, probably late 80s, 89.
Like you were just there watching?
I was there walking through. I'm walking through the crowd, and him, and I think Craig Meyer, another one of our other buddies, were coming through. We locked eyes. Might have been Brian Marcus. But Andy Brown had this little case with him, and he looks at me and he goes, "Hey." I go, "Hey." And he goes, "You want a shot?" Uh-huh. And he opens up this little case, and it's one of those things. He's got a bottle in there. He's got all those little stainless steel cups and shit. And I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, let's do it right here." So he poured out some nice shots for us, and we did a shot of whiskey, and it's like, "Hey."
That's
and
awesome.
And we were camped over there. And then I believe I think he came looking for me later on in the weekend, and I had made a hasty exit out of there. And so it was like Sunday evening. He came and found me at home, and we went to this guy's house, John Case, and we jammed.
Oh, I met John Case last week.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was he running sound or something somewhere?
He's going to set up the sound for the Skagit Bigfoot Fest.
Okay. Yeah, John Case. We were jamming at his house. I think we played Some Kind of Wonderful. Was
Really?
the name of the song. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he had this, it was cool, and out in his old shop, it had whiskey bottles and shit all over. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And he had the drums in a whole different room with glass, and just like, holy shit, this is like a real studio
Legit.
thing. It was like, legit cool. Yeah. And so we kind of jammed in there, and then that was that. And then when it really happened is, I believe it was August 27th, 1990.
Okay.
Stevie Ray Vaughan died.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, I've been living with my good friend Mike Ludwig, and there's a knock on the door, and I open it, and it's Andy Brown and Brian Marcus, and they're all sad. And they got a bottle of whiskey. I think it was Jim Beam, might have been Jack Daniels, and they were like, "Hey, do you hear? Stevie Ray Vaughan died." So we started drinking whiskey, and then we called another one of our buddies, and I had this old shitty drum kit set up in the living room, and we kind of jammed a little bit, best we could. I think we played Cab Driver, Lenny Kravitz, a couple things. Yeah, that's how. And then we were doing fun adventures. We were doing canoe trips and shit like that.
Yeah.
And
so you had that first band with him. What was it called again?
Hindu Grass.
Okay, where'd that name come from?
Inside of a Jane's Addiction album cover. Yeah, one of our members and I remember we were looking at it, and we opened it up, and it was just this like shelf of all these potions and shit, and one of the things on there said Hindu Grass. It's like, that's a cool band name.
So then how long were you guys in that band? Like, did you record stuff?
Yeah, we did. We did a little recording at Binary Studios with Eric Janko. He's this local engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bob, shit, I can't remember the guy who owned the studio. So we recorded up there. We did a 5-track little EP thing. We'd never been in a studio before, so it was really fun.
So Hindu Grass was first, and then Pavlov Jones?
And then Pavlov. Hindu Grass lasted from about early 91 to about 94, and then it kind of ended. And then it was like probably later in 94, we rounded up a couple other guys. We rounded up Johnny Caulfield. Three of us out of Hindu Grass, Andy Brown, Rob Blackwell, and myself. We rounded up Matt Leslie, he comes later. Matt Specht and Johnny Caulfield.
How often do you have bands just coming over and playing at your place?
Well,
so do you have like a setup, like already a practice space already set up, or?
Back in the Fortune 500 days after Pavlov Jones, there was a 3-piece: Andy Brown, Matt Leslie, myself, and Matt Leslie's a builder also. He's a talented dude. He can play just about any instrument, mix, record, do all the stuff, and build and fix motors, engines, and shit like that. Great guy.
Yeah.
But we were going to do some recording in a studio, and he was like, shit, for what we're going to pay for just a weekend or something in a studio. He goes, we could build a little shed, a recording pad, because we were practicing in my old shop. It's not very soundproof.
Yeah.
We used to practice upstairs in my house until I had a daughter. But so we were practicing in the shop, and then he said, well, hey, shit, let's just build, because we were making pretty good money. We were playing shows, and we just save our money.
Yeah.
And so he would just bring stuff up, and we just build away, and we finally built. It's not huge. It's like 16 by 16.
Yeah.
But there's 5 of us in there playing, and
Yeah.
our shit's in there. It's kind of full now because Eli's got all his recording gear in. But
Yeah.
But yeah, so Pavlov practices there now since we kind of started back up again. But it's not very often because our one guy lives in Portland. I was going to tell you this last night.
Oh.
Yeah. Matt Speck lives in Portland.
Oh, okay.
But his son lives in Woolley, and he's got grandkids.
Oh.
And so Matt comes up to see his son and the grandkids, and his mom's still out in LaConner. So he comes up periodically, but it's maybe not as often as I want, but I'm just happy to, that he gets, that we get to do it.
Yeah.
So we practice sporadically.
Yeah.
And then Jack called me up one day a while back, and they wanted to come over and do something. I think it was him and Jesse Eldridge and Michelle Montoya.
Yeah.
They were going to come over and practice for something. And it was like, yeah, it's just sitting there. Just come use it.
Yeah.
And then I think a while back, Jack and a couple of his other buddies were going to do something.
Yeah.
So they played, and then so every now and then.
I love it. Yeah, it's just sitting there.
It's just sitting there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the neighbors don't care; they like it. So
yeah. Oh, you guys played?
That was Pavlov Jones's first and only appearance at Birdstock.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I also heard a rumor that Zach Michaud played the first Birdstock, but he got.
Yes.
I do remember. Were you there?
Yeah, I do remember because I think he had some vulgar language. Is that what it was?
I think he might have opened the show.
Yeah, I think he did.
Noon?
And they weren't ready for him, right? And they weren't ready for that because I think, he's a funny son of a bitch, that guy.
He's been here more times than anybody. I love that guy.
He's hilarious. His shows are a hoot.
Any chance I get, I'll go see Zach. I love him.
Did you see him and Jack play last year, a year and a half ago at Woolley Market before they shut down?
No,
God,
no.
That was funny. Just the two of those guys played.
They would be amazing together. I could see that.
It was a fun show.
Yeah.
It was a hoot.
Yeah. What are you doing Saturday? He's like, think I might crash Birdstock. I'm like, yes. So.
Has he never played there since?
No.
I don't think banned?
I think so. I think
that
unofficially.
He's very comfortable. That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
I just like his shows. I've met him a few times, and he's a great guy, but I don't know him that well. I just like watching his shows.
Yeah. That's the thing. He's really funny, and I like his music. So
yeah, I do too.
So you're in Pavlov Jones, and then Fortune 500.
Yes.
Were they very different members, or?
No, we got Matt Leslie.
Okay.
The great one.
Got it.
Yeah, if there's a legend in the valley, and he's not even from the valley, he lives in Everett.
Yeah.
He's,
okay.
A great guy, nice guy.
And he plays everything you said.
Humble, as can be. Yeah, he put a guitar, bass, drums, harmonica, keys. I don't know that he plays the fiddle, but he can play mandolin and all that. Yeah.
So that was the new guy you got.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So we played with that. Then that band ended about probably 3 minutes to midnight right before the new decade, 1999. We played a New Year's show. That was Pavlov Jones's last show.
Oh, okay.
And the whole thing just came crashing down. So
Fortune started in 2000?
No.
Oh.
Fortune, no. I moped around and shit for about a year and a half, and then I got an opportunity to hook up with Matt Leslie again.
Yeah.
He was playing with Fanny Alger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was one of their members.
Shane's coming over on Monday.
Shane's awesome, dude. He was playing with them, and he said something to me about, hey, man, he goes, I got this song. Maybe you should come down and we'll try and record it.
Yeah.
And so it was a surf tune, and it was really cool. Anyway, so it was like, wow, that was pretty neat. Session at his house down in Everett. He had a pretty nice little setup, his little studio, nothing major, but it was cool. And then so I would just go down there periodically, and I was just playing bass and doing some vocals and stuff. And I'm not a shitty bass player. I'm a I was gonna play the bass, and we were gonna do something, and Matt looks at me and goes, hey, do you know a drummer? And I'm like, absolutely. So I got a hold of Andy Brown, and he walked in, and all of a sudden, right off the bat, he picked up the bass, and I sat on the drums. And so that's how the makeup of Fortune 500, it was with Matt and Andy Brown and myself. And and then
where'd the name come from?
Probably that awesome Fortune 500 magazine,
okay.
or whatever the hell it is, and just sounded racy and fast, and I just snagged it. And
I forgot to ask you where Pavlov Jones came from.
That was our good buddy Robbie D, who we had to part ways with.
Yeah.
And it ended up in we ended up in not a courtroom, but we had some legal things we
issues,
we had to deal with.
Yeah.
And then so Pavlov Jones, he thought of that one, but Fortune 500, that also got us into some trouble with some court shit, because we got a cease and desist order or two to stop that whole
the name. Yeah.
So
but now you're back with Pavlov Jones.
Yeah, after 20 years.
You're like, I had my kid.
Well,
she's old enough now.
It was just weird. All of a sudden, Tim Fisher. Do you know of Bandcamp? You know Tim Fisher, the drummer for Fanny?
Yes.
Awesome
No,
guy.
I don't know him, but I do know what Bandcamp is.
Okay.
Yeah.
He hosts it.
Yes.
And he's a great guy, and he had been asking for a few years, hey, man, Pavlov should get back together and just come up to Bandcamp and play a couple songs.
Yeah, just for
It'd be fun. It's like,
what could happen?
Yeah. So he'd asked us a few times, and then one year it was like, okay, Matt had come up and he had time and he was in the right spot, and so he'd come up from Portland. We hooked up a little bit, and I think we got it to Eli's, and we sat around with some acoustics and just played some stuff, and then we got together a couple weeks later at my house with full drums and the full bass and everything, and played, and it was like, wow, that was really fun, because it had been 20 years since we played some of these songs.
Did it just all come back?
A lot of it did.
Yeah.
And it was fun. We go like, hey, well, maybe we should try that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
I keep hearing good things about Eli. Do you think he'd be a good podcast guest? Yeah.
Stories galore. He'll have stories, because he's worked with so many bands.
Yeah.
And he did all his internship down at Bad Animal Studio X, down the one that Hart owned down in Seattle. It was that's how we got started, because he was friends. We knew his sister, sort of, and Johnny Caulfield knew Eli. So back in the early days, we were getting ready to do some recording. It was like in the spring, and I was getting ready to head to Alaska on a fishing boat, and so was he.
Oh.
And so we met at the Galley 5, this restaurant in Burlington. We talked a little bit of stuff about recording, and then it's like, okay, we'll get together after summer. We're going to start this project. And I remember being on a fishing boat up in Alaska, and all these boats are going. All of a sudden, we go by, and all of a sudden, it's Eli. He goes, hey.
Shut up.
No, it was weird. You have 1,000 boats up there, and I see Eli.
So cool.
Yeah.
Fun. Nice.
Yeah, Eli's a great guy.
And it's, so I get this straight. So Eli's wife, Michelle, was in Gin Gypsy with Jesse.
You ever heard him sing?
No.
Jesus H. Christ.
Well, I know that one song he played for the Ed Blanton album.
Yeah.
$2 Pint, I think it was called.
Oh, yeah. That's
a good song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love the whole history of like, okay, these people were in this band, and then now Sonny's in the Dimes with, is it Rick and Ken?
Rick, not Ray. Yeah.
I don't know, Rick? Is it Ray?
Yeah. Rick Simcox. Yeah. When I first met him, it was a loud bar, and I thought he said his name was Ray, so I was calling him Ray all night. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's Rick, not Ray.
Yeah, they're fun. I like the Dimes.
I haven't seen him yet.
Oh, no?
No, I haven't got to see him.
I guess because they've only been playing a few shows.
I'm excited.
What's the biggest festival you guys ever played?
For Pavlov Jones got to do some cool stuff. We won a couple contests. We got to do...
What did that give you? Like, what did the contest...
We got some free trips and stuff.
Okay.
And I guess notoriety and cool, street cred or something. We didn't get like recording contracts like the winner did.
Oh, okay. But like in Seattle, you mean? Like contests like that? Or?
No, somebody entered us in this local bands contest.
Okay.
Somebody from like Bellingham.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning this thing. I don't know how, and they flew us to Las Vegas.
Wow.
So we played this show, and there was like quarterfinalists from different parts of the country, and we ended up winning that. So then a couple weeks later, they flew us to Colorado, to Vail, during this big snowboard festival, all this cool shit. They paid for everything, put us up, open for Everclear.
No way.
And the Cowboy Junkies. Anyways, we got to do really cool shit. So yeah, and it was all on somebody else's dime. So that was really fun. Fortune 500 got to do some cool stuff. West Coast tour, sort of. It was really fun. I think we played 10 shows or 11 shows or something, and we played Oregon and California.
Like bars or festivals or what?
Yeah,
like
mostly bars and clubs.
Okay.
And but it was really fun, and we just played like San Francisco and San Jose and a couple places in Oregon, and then we played Las Vegas, and I think we had another show in like Medford, Oregon, on the way home through Las Vegas, because we hit Oregon, hit a couple, then got into California, hit a couple, camped along the way and shit.
Like a 2-week tour? Or?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right close.
Yeah. How did that 2-week tour go? Were you just like dying at the end?
I do remember the night of our last show, we were in Oregon, and we got asked to go to like some after party, and I remember, and it's like 2 a.m, or it was probably midnight or so, and I remember going, we're 10 hours from home. I was like, we could go to that party, or we could get in that bus, because I'm charged up. I got a post-show high. I'm not sleeping anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's like, I can drive for 5 hours. Let's just jump in that freaking bus and head north and get home. Kind of want to go home and see my baby. I got a daughter, so she was, I don't know. She's probably 3 or 4 at the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was pretty charged up to go home. I do remember that.
Yeah.
But it was the hoot, thinking back on it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we met some interesting cats on that. We played some fun shows, and shows that maybe didn't work out quite like we wanted.
Yeah.
There was a couple times where, in San Francisco, they want to make sure that you have a crowd, that you're not just some, freeloaders coming into town. They want to know you're going to draw some people. So, there was things like that we had to contend with. And good thing we had a good manager at the time who was a smooth talker.
Who was your manager?
Brian Marcus.
Okay.
He's one of our friends, and he was just representing us as our guy.
Yeah.
So we had to end up, I don't think we had to pay any money, but I think we gave a guy some shirts and some CDs, because I think we'd made a commitment that, yes, we'll bring X amount of people to our San Francisco show.
Yeah.
We're that big.
Yeah.
But we weren't really that big.
Were there a lot of people there?
No, hell no.
Have you played to 0 people before?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Well, we played through, because we did a weekend. We did 3 shows in one day, and one of them, the first or second one, was at the tech school in Bellingham. We got asked to play. They paid us a shitload of money.
Really?
Yeah, and it was for the cafeteria workers or something. Somebody knew us somehow, and they're like, "Hey, let's get that band."
Yeah.
So we played in this cafeteria for the workers in the cafeteria.
Like while they're working?
They're kind of working, and for people to come in, but nobody ever. People just walk through and they'd look at us,
like,
and then they might grab something to eat and then just keep walking.
Yeah.
And it was the most bizarre thing. And then we got to take like a 45-minute break and then play a few more songs, and there was nobody watching us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
And then we had to go, you know what? And then we went left from there. Then we ripped. That was up in Bellingham, and then we tore ass out to Big Lake, and we played the Fire Mountain Boy Scout camp for Cedar Woolley, Cedar Woolley High School senior party that Jeff Ingram he's a musician.
No.
I think he was the assistant principal at Mount Vernon.
Okay. From
Jupiter's Trail. Jeff Ingram from Cousin Eddie.
Okay.
Both bands.
Okay.
Him and his wife were Jupiter's Trail. Or Trail.
Okay.
Jupiter's Trail. Anyway, he set it up, but who was a senior in that class? Trevor, the drummer from Lazy Acres.
Oh, Trevor
Lance?
Is that his name? Trevor Lance?
Trevor, the drummer.
Okay.
I'm not certain of his last
name.
Yeah,
Trevor. Oh,
anyway,
funny.
He came up and played a Van Halen tune with us.
Really?
Yeah, it was fucking cool, man. Yeah, so that's how we met that kid, yeah.
That's
and now
awesome.
look at him today.
Yeah.
He's an awesome drummer, man. Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we saw him on Sunday. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was fun. Yeah.
So have you got to talk to Shane a whole lot?
No, he's coming on Monday.
So, but
we text a little bit.
But you haven't conversed with him yet?
No.
Oh.
I've never met him in person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're in for
Am I in for it?
Oh, God. Yeah.
What does he like to drink? What should I restock my fridge with?
I think he likes beer and probably coffee. Maybe an energy drink. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried now. No.
No, don't be. No. Yeah.
So I'll just say go, and then he'll just.
He's probably. as far as a front man for a band, I don't know if you could get a better one.
Really?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't think you could.
Yeah.
He's just such a good front man. He's always got the right thing to say.
Yeah.
At the right time.
Yeah.
He's just entertaining.
Yeah.
That kid's talented.
I've seen him play a few times.
You ever heard him? You ever heard his voice?
I think so, because he's played the Hub a few times solo.
Sweet as stupid little honey, that kid's voice, man. I shit you not. It's.
Do you have any good scar stories?
Not really.
You have a lot of tattoos.
They're old.
Well, it doesn't matter. You still have a lot of them.
They're old and yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna get any
Faded.
more. Fix
I
them,
would,
or,
but
yeah.
I haven't gotten one in like 14 years.
Well, your band's back.
My band's back.
So maybe it's time.
I want to get a traditional bamboo one.
Oh, okay.
Where they do the thing with the stick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My brother got one in Thailand, so I think
really?
I want to get one. Yeah.
I was just picturing like the people in the Maori people in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I think they might get them like that too.
Yeah.
I lived in New Zealand for a year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Have
What
you ever
island?
been down there?
Yeah, I've been there.
I was in the northern tip of the southern island.
Okay.
So Nelson.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to go down there and go apple picking. It was a shitty season that year. So my buddy and I, we ended up, we took the ferry down there. We didn't stay very long. We just didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went there to work, or?
Well, sort of.
Okay,
That
let's
was
hear it.
That was our goal, but we didn't really pursue it all that much. We got down there at one point, and we were just kind of camping out, so we just set our sleeping bags out by a river or something, and at one point, we realized it was...
How old were you when you went there?
Early 20s, 24, 25. And I realized that it was Friday, and I had like $3 in my pocket. You could get money from the bank, and for whatever reason, we had some traveler's checks or some shit, but we had no access to really any money until Monday morning.
Okay.
And it was like, holy shit. So, yeah, we didn't have very much money, so we had to make, we were like splitting food. They had a KFC in the town we were.
Did you get fish and chips there? They were amazing.
We got fish and chips, and I remember we got a burger that had beets on, had egg on it and beets.
Oh, yeah.
Which I love beets.
Yeah.
But they had beet slices.
Yeah.
And it was weird.
There was this one place I'd always go to for fish and chips, but they would wrap it in newspaper.
Yeah.
And so you're walking home. It was almost like a bouquet of flowers.
It
was fish and chips.
For the grease, right?
Yeah, so I'd rip it open. I would just eat it while I was walking. Yeah.
We hitchhiked there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were not successful.
No?
No. We were hitchhiking, and this guy picked us up, and we get in the rig, and first thing he said to us, he goes, "Hey, if you got a cup, you can have a rum and Coke." And we're like, shit, we were traveling. Like, yeah, we got our mugs right here.
Yeah.
And so we mixed them up. Turns out he was a policeman from the Lake Taupo police. He was heading down to the southern part of this lake.
Yeah.
Like to this place called like Tarangi or something. And they were going to do this big cricket match with all these other cops. And it was a big beer fest all day, big beer fest barbecue. And he goes, "Well, what are you guys doing today?" We're nothing. We got no plans. He goes, "Why don't you come with us?" So they took us down there. He took us down there. He was alone. Introduced us to all his cop friends. They put us in the game. They fed us beer all day.
So you played cricket?
Yeah, and they put us in the game.
You played cricket in New Zealand?
It was crazy, yeah. And they got us just hammered.
Yeah?
And yeah, but we were
That's
eating
awesome.
reindeer all day because they like cattle there. They have reindeer all over, so that's their.
Oh. I mean, they're known for sheep.
Yeah, but we ate reindeer.
Reindeer?
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, that's basically elk.
It's kind of like
yeah,
or caribou
wow.
or something. But they have shit tons of farms over there or something.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They cut all the timber lands, so when you drive through the countryside, all the trees that they've replanted are all in rows.
Yeah,
it's weird. I always thought that was weird.
I definitely didn't see as much as I wanted to. When my sister came to visit, we drove around. That's why I bought a car, to drive her around the South Island, but didn't have a ton of time or a ton of money. Have you been up there at all? Canada at all? Are you allowed to cross? No judgment.
I think I am.
I think most people I know can't.
I've had some issues at the border before.
Oh, not just like a DUI? Because that's why most people I know. Oh.
No.
Can you share?
We back up. Pavlov Jones was slated to play up.
Are we going to blame Andy? Let's blame Andy for this. No?
Could, but there's nothing to blame him for because he made it. We had 2 vans, two rigs going across with gear and shit and all our snowboard gear, but we didn't have proper work visas and permits.
Oh, you were going to play up there and then snowboard. Yeah,
and stay up there for the whole thing.
And they're like, "Why do you have guitars?" And
there was Andy and I think Eli were in one rig, and 3 of us were in another rig.
Yeah.
Well, long story short, they ended up seeing all the stuff, and it's like, well, we just have it. We played shows. We're in a band, but we just have it in the van for weight, so we don't slide around. And anyway, they didn't buy it, and they put us through the ringer, and they held us for several hours, and then they said, "Okay, we're going to let you go, but you don't get to come into Canada. You got to go home, and we're going to put out the notice to all the other border crossings that if you try to cross there, you're going to end up in jail for the whole weekend. It's a long weekend, so you're not going to get out."
Wow.
So we just went home, and then Andy and Eli made it. So they got up there with busloads of our friends who were going up for this big resort for the weekend. So they had to piece together like a PA system so they could just play CDs. And they just DJ'd all weekend. And they got to party and do all the fun stuff.
And you and Eli had to come back?
No, me and Andy Brown and Eli got to stay up there.
Okay.
So it was Johnny Caulfield, Matt Specht, and I. No. Yes. And I think Matt Leslie and I, there was...
Oh, funny.
Because Eli was a sound guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple of them made it, and a bunch of us didn't. So, yeah.
Okay. That's your only issue with the border?
Well, and they held us, and then they went through our backpacks, and then they found a bunch of pictures. I'd been practicing my horticulture skills. And so I had taken a bunch of pictures of some plants that I'd grown, and they'd seen them, so they started questioning me about
because you're a landscaper. Makes sense.
Because I'm a landscaper. So then there was that fiasco.
Oh, wow.
So we had that going on, too.
Yeah. So maybe you haven't tried to cross recently. So maybe you're okay.
Not recently.
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have family up there, so I have to cross. So
I liked the show Alone that was filmed on Vancouver Island.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I love that show.
Great show.
It's funny because I listen to Joe Rogan on occasion, and I almost didn't listen to the one that said Jordan Jonas.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Because I thought it was a Jonas Brother, and I'm like, I don't know that band.
Yeah.
And I happened to see the picture, and I went,
"That's the dude.
That's the guy." And they didn't even talk about Alone on the episode, which I always think about this podcast, like, we don't necessarily have to talk about music. Someone could discover so many amazing things about you, whereas the Jordan Jonas one. Joe could have thought, oh, we could probably talk about Alone for 3 hours, but they barely touched on it. They talked about his, building homes in Russia or something?
Yeah, and just his time with all the tribes and all the cool shit that he did, and learning his skills and hunting and living with those people.
So you've seen all of those?
I've seen, a lot of, probably most of them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want some inside info? I heard that the very first season, the first episode, so they dropped everyone off. And the crew, because you know how when they pick up everyone up, when they tap out, they're on camera.
Yeah.
So the crew's like, well, shit, we can't get drunk for a year. We have to be on call. So they all went out and got shit-faced, just blackout.
Beforehand?
Well, no, they dropped the last guy off.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, okay, one more party and then we're done.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you remember that first episode. The guy heard a bear or a wolf.
Oh, and it was crying. Yeah, and he went out the first day. He didn't even spend the night.
Well... He stayed out a few hours later than he wanted to because they couldn't come back because they were all drunk. So I'm thankful the guy even survived because they couldn't go. They're like, we're going to be on camera. We're all shit-faced. At least this is the story I heard.
Yeah, I do remember that guy.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, I'm going to
Was
win this
it a bear
thing.
or a wolf?
He heard something. He was terrified. And he left didn't even spend one night there.
I remember that. It was within hours, yeah.
Yes.
So the other story I heard too was, so I coach a bunch of sports. The biggest issue, obviously COVID was horrible for everyone, but I was coaching varsity tennis at Burlington. It was my first year. I was so excited. Our first match was March 17th, 2020. I was so pumped. The world shut down, couldn't play. But so I've coached a bunch of middle school sports too. So one time I was coaching volleyball. So we go to Lopez. We're on the bus. The guy is driving us to the school. And I said, hey, that girl that was on Alone, do you remember her?
Yeah.
Does she still live around here? Is she like famous or what? Oh, there's a farmer's market. You know, she has a booth or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
The chick who had that thing on her butt. Did she get a spider bite on her butt?
And she made that herb paste.
Yeah.
Remember she made a sauna?
She had the whole Rockway with the moss. She was talented.
So why didn't she win?
I think she said fuck it and she was done.
Do you know why?
No.
I'll tell you.
Tell me.
Someone comes out just to make sure they're alive. They do a quick med check, right?
Yeah.
They don't talk to them. They just get out. The guy was bringing her candy and she was sleeping with him. Right? To look back now, you're like, obviously, because she would have won. Why would she tap out?
That's hilarious.
Wasn't she like, I've accomplished all I've accomplished?
Yeah, that's yeah. But, oh, see, I did not know that.
I know. So I'm like, oh, maybe that's why she's not really like chasing that kind of fame. Like, oh, I was on Alone.
She couldn't handle the loneliness of it. Mrs. Dane was my Edison
Mrs. Dane?
Miss Dane.
Yeah.
Not Mrs.
Oh, okay.
Miss Dane.
Miss Dane. Okay. Do you remember anything about second grade?
Yeah.
What do you remember? Like, what was like a highlight? I always wonder what my kids are going to remember.
I remember not really paying attention.
Okay.
And getting my finger
in trouble.
She was kind of older. She'd point at you, but she's like a point around the corner.
Yeah.
You.
Well, overall in school, were you good?
No.
Not a good student?
I wasn't
academically?
I was horrible academically. I was a nice kid.
Okay.
I didn't get in a bunch of trouble and stir up shit, but I just wasn't that good in school.
Yeah.
I mean,
no big deal. You're fine.
Yeah, I just wasn't. It wasn't my thing. I spent too much time staring out the window, wanting to do stuff outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd see the guy in the lawnmower outside. You're like, oh, I want to.
I'd sit out and look up. I could sit out. I remember Mr. Kvistad. Do you remember that name?
No.
He was new when I was in third grade.
Oh.
He came new, and he had a really cool green Corvette Stingray.
Oh.
Badass. Late 60s, early 70s. And I remember sitting in his class and just staring out. I could see Chuckanut.
Yeah.
And it just goes, I just want to go up and hike up in all on those hills. I don't want to. I'm not interested in math, social studies, any of that. I just want to be outside. That's what I do. That's what I remember about being in school. Not wanting to be in there. Not interested in what they were selling.
So if bar owners are listening to this and they're like, oh, like could they get Pavlov Jones at their place?
They could.
Do you have certain like parameters? Like we
can be kind of loud on stage.
Okay.
I mean, you talking about like our rider when we send our rider in?
Well, I don't know what that is.
In our dressing
room.
So I want eight clean white towels of this size. I want 6 Mountain Dews and that's
pretty much nothing. Have you seen them play?
Yes.
They're loud.
Yeah.
Are you guys louder than them?
We're 5-piece.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they've played at the Hub a few times.
Yeah.
So
Spencer pounds those drums.
Although I don't know if you'd fit at the Hub. Jeremy could shut the street down.
Yeah.
And you guys could play outside.
We'd have a hard time fitting in that little alcove window thing.
Yeah. So it'd have to be a situation where you shut the street down.
Yeah.
And then you'd play. Do you know Cascade Cody? No. Or have you heard his stuff?
I've heard the name, but I don't know that I've heard his stuff. Or
his album just came out today on Spotify.
Oh, I don't even know that I've ever met him. So
it's really good, and he's just one of the most genuine, sincere guys, and he wants to work with everyone.
Oh, nice.
He's just really good guy. I think he's gonna sleep here tonight too.
Oh.
I love it.
Yeah, the house.
It's an open house. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Well, thanks, Scott. It was nice to meet you.
Cool.
That was fun.
Nice to meet you too, Liz.
All right. Thanks.